European Union chiefs are already eyeing up British cash to support the bloc's recovery from the coronavirus pandemic, it has emerged. As diplomats and officials draw up their economic rescue plan, some have factored in the possibility of UK taxpayers sending billions of pounds to Brussels. Sources say there is a growing belief that Boris Johnson will eventually decide to extend the post-Brexit transition period. The U-turn would leave the Prime Minister to negotiate a cash contribution for retaining access to the EU's single market and customs union. One EU source said, "We are currently looking at all the possible financing options." Some people also say, what can we do with a British contribution to the MFF? Will the Brits really go away in 2020 or not? Will that provide extra money? Mr. Johnson has previously publicly vowed to leave the transition period at the end of the year. And David Frost, the Prime Minister's lead negotiator, last night warned his EU counterpart Michel Barnier the UK government has no intention to delay Brexit and he will walk. But this hasn't stopped EU decision-makers from considering the possibility of new British cash being injected into the bloc's future budgets. I don't think anybody is already counting on new British support. But, of course, it's a theoretically possibility the Brits stay longer despite the Prime Minister saying it won't be so, another EU source said. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen yesterday called for a £871 billion new Marshall Plan to help revive European economies from the impact of the global pandemic. With the bloc facing one of its deepest recessions, the German demanded revamped plans to boost spending contributions towards the EU's next multi-annual budget. She said, a European budget that with all its might is able to leverage the necessary money for a huge investment initiative in order to We're not talking about $1 billion, we're talking about $1 trillion, looking at the investment initiative that has to be done. European capitals have spent recent weeks wrangling over potential rescue packages, including the so-called Coronabonds plan to share the debt burden of the worst-hit countries' economic recovery across the Eurozone. But failing to reach a substantial deal, Mrs. von der Leyen called for member states to create a new instrument to fund the repairs. The Commission chief said, Europe needs a new Marshall Plan. We will need massive public and private investments to rebuild the economy and create new jobs. The key to this is a new, powerful EU budget. The Marshall Plan financial support package was provided to Western Europe by the US in the 1940s to support the continent's recovery after the Second World War. European leaders are expected to start discussions on the plans next week during an emergency European Council summit. Former Brexit Party MEP Alex Phillips said, it beggars belief that the EU has been unable and unwilling to mutualise debt across Euro countries after Germany and the Netherlands rejected Coronabonds for Mediterranean members Spain and Italy still suffering the results of the last Eurozone crisis. Without any credible plan, they want to shake the charity tin in our direction. The response from the UK should be no. Non. Neen. We have our own mounting debt issues to tackle. But if we extended transition and remain a member state in all but name, it is likely Brussels will be able to grab our cash anyway. We must hold firm and remind our